Yo, salute, salute. Good afternoon. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla in the building. Hollering at y'all with this quick live stream. Yeah. Headed back to actually I'm headed to the gym. Get some work in. Then I go to the house and do some more work. Anyway. Well, I heard some interesting stuff today. Heard some very interesting things today, man. I was in the YouTube streets, you know, going through the timeline or whatever scene was what. And I saw an interesting title that stated Brian Norman Sr. says it wasn't Bill Haney's fault. I'm like, well, this is interesting. What is going on here? Well, this was from True Media's channel. I'm not subscribed to him. I guess that's Coach Malachi. I don't really watch his content. Why everybody mad that Diddy was found innocent? I don't know, man. No clue. No clue why they mad. You know what it is. But yeah, Coach Malachi apparently had Brian Norman Sr. on his show. And he said some interesting things. And from what Brian Norman Sr. said, I'm wondering if any of the Devin Haney hater channels are going to cover it. So I wanted to highlight that and bring it to light. That Brian Norman Sr. basically said that all the so-called delays, all this, that, and the third, all the road bumps, all the bumps in the road leading to the making of the fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney was not Devin's fault. Bill Haney's fault. Salute, Stephen X. Assalamu alaikum. Salute to you, brother. Now, Brian Norman Sr. said this. Brian Norman Sr. basically said that Bill Haney, it was not his fault. He had nothing to do with all the confusion that was created around making this fight happen. That's what Brian Norman Sr. said. Right? And I'm pretty sure that upset a lot of Haney hater channels. I'm pretty sure. What I also am pretty sure of is that they won't cover that. Right? They won't tell their audience that Bill wasn't responsible for any confusion surrounding making this fight happen. They won't tell you that because they're haters. That's the bottom line to it. And if they do cover it, well, they'll try to spin the narrative. They'll try to say, oh, well, Bill, Brian Norman Sr. probably signed a contract, a non-disclosure agreement. They're going to come up with some bullshit. They're going to come up with some excuses. Because they want Bill to be at fault. They want Devin to be at fault for whatever may happen. Right? It doesn't matter if they're drug cheated. It doesn't matter if by certain promoters, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about anything. Anything that goes wrong surrounding the Haneys, they want it to be their fault, right? But he wasn't paid or he wasn't forced to say that it wasn't Bill Haney's fault, because that's what this Coach Malachi character asked him. He said, "You sure you wasn't paid to blah blah blah, or whatever the case may be?" Brian Norman Sr. made it clear that Bill Haney was not the problem, even though they were trying to make Bill the problem. They were trying to make Devin the problem, right? They were trying to make Bill the problem because him and Brian Norman Jr. got into it. The bitch word was flying around, and somebody called somebody's mama a bitch and all this shit. They were talking shit to each other. But at the end of the day, Brian Norman Sr. is not Brian Norman Jr.'s manager. He's not this, he's not that, right? He was unable to tell you very much information. He was very limited with what he could and could not confirm about this fight until the fight was made. Adrian Clark. Akram was good. Lil Timmy, salute. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream. I got too much going on right now. I got to make a couple phone calls. But the bottom line is, Bill Haney there was nothing that Bill Haney did or Devin Haney did to cause any confusion about the Brian Norman fight. Also, when asked if they're making a whole lot of money to fight Devin, Brian Norman Sr. was like, oh, hey, he didn't really want to say much, but he sounded very excited. So there is a bag involved for Brian Norman Jr. He's going to get his biggest payday fighting Devin Haney. And the Brian Norman team has a lot of respect for the Haneys right now. They just want to make it a good fight. Brian Norman Jr. is not sleeping on Devin. He knows Devin is a threat. And that's the bottom line to it. Somebody says go to work. You go to work. Get the fuck up out of here and you go to work. Take your ass to work instead of typing in my chat telling me to go to work. I'm always working. Don't worry about what I'm doing. If you don't want to, then shut your ass up then. Sometimes you need to connect your top lip to your bottom lip and shut the fuck up. All right? Any such comments will be deleted. Go to work. Why am I here? I'm subscribing. Any of those types of comments, we're gonna get your ass out of here. Exactly, Shower. Salute to Shower. Salute to Shower. The beautiful chocolate team. But anyway, yeah, Brian Norman Sr. understands. He understands that this is the best thing for his career, or his son's career, is to fight someone of the caliber of a Devin Haney. He understands that they've been wanting to fight him. He understands that they were on Devin's list, and they wanted to make the fight happen. Shawa, you can get rid of them. If they say anything like, "Why am I here? Go to work." If they say anything like that, if they're spamming, if they're like, "Why am I watching this guy?" If they say they're leaving, if they say anything around that, we're just going to help them out, because clearly they don't want to be here. But they're commenting for some reason. I don't understand. They could just go away and not comment. So Too Big ask if he says I'm a fairy. Oh, that's fine, Shower. He can call me a fairy. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care about that. If they can call me names, I don't care about that. Let them launch their insults. But like, It annoys me when people announce when they're leaving, or announce like it's silly. It's silly. We're gonna help you along your way. If you don't want to be here, we're gonna help you along your way. So, yeah, Brian Norman Sr. understands. He understands, right? Even if no one else in the boxing world doesn't understand, or they try to spin the narrative, they try to make the Haneys the bad people. Howdy to you, Kyrie TV. They understand that the Haneys are about that life, and they clearly are about that life. The Normans are about that life. Finally, we understand that because they agreed to the fight. Did it take a little bit of windy road to get there? Was there some extra? There might have been some extra, or a little bit of extracurricular negotiation going on. They might have wanted a little more money. They might have wanted, it just depends. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. The only thing we should care about is if the fight's going to happen.
Watch out, vehicle and shoulder ahead.
Here's the thing, though, before I get out of here. I don't watch too much of Coach Malachi's content. I know that there are members of the LDBC that don't like him. They call him Coach Malacoon. I don't know enough about him to make such judgments, right? But I will say he is a slick one. Why was we created? To fulfill a purpose, right? We were created to fulfill a purpose. And what that purpose is, that's why you spend your life finding out. You spend your life finding out what your purpose is. And once you figure out your purpose, then that's just what you do. You just figure out your purpose. So I can't make a judgment against Malachi, but I can say that he's pretty slick, right? I think when Brian Norman Jr. Sr. made it clear that Bill Haney was not at fault, right? Coach Malachi, in a joking way, asked Brian Norman Sr. if he was paid to say that, if Bill paid him to say that it wasn't Bill's fault. And I don't, like, Brian Norman Sr. does not strike me as an individual that would even accept payment for something like that. But, Coach Malachi, he understands, right? But he wants to sow doubt, in my opinion. I get the impression that he wants to sow doubt in the minds of the boxing fans about whether or not the Haneys are really wanting to fight Brian Norman Jr. Because people still don't believe it, even though they agreed to fight. So we'll see what happens. But Coach Malachi he also said he was trying to get Brian Norman Sr. to go in on Devin, right? I can see these things, all right? I know when a motherfucker trying to be slick, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think he's trying to get some excitement going. He's trying to get some controversy going. Where he's telling Brian Norman Sr. He's just praising the hell out of Devin. Oh, Devin has this amazing defense that he got from Floyd Mayweather, and man, it's going to be such a huge obstacle for your son, and trying to get. He was trying to get Brian Norman Sr. riled up, right? He wanted Brian Norman Sr. to go in on Devin. Super Hustle, man, salute to you. The Normans know Devin is the truth. The promoters do not. The promoters do too, and want his pops out the way. Of course, they want his pops out the way. But listen, they tried to do that when he fought Kambosos the first time. Shawa says, knock it off, too small. Mess around, salute. Doing supporting. I appreciate that. Mess around. I appreciate that. Salute to you for that. Salute mess around in the chat, y'all. Show some love for showing me some love on some champ side shit, you know what I mean? But listen, It's okay though, right? See, they don't have nothing but the drama. They ain't got nothing but the drama to stand on, right? But it's okay because you can expose the drama to their fans, right? Brian Norman Sr. knows what's up. Brian Norman Jr. knows what's up. After all the debacle and all the shit stirring by all these content creators to try to turn Brian Norman Sr. and Devin Haney or Bill Haney against each other, trying to get the camps to go at each other. I mean, they caused quite a bit of damage. There was some damage going around, right? There was some collateral damage from that. But at the end of the day, this is what the fight game is about. And this is why I appreciate the Norman camp and the Haney camp. I wasn't feeling the Brian Norman camp last week. Y'all know that. But as of today, I appreciate both camps. They're making some shit happen. This is how it should be. Is it okay to build the fight? Is it okay to create some level of drama and let the fighters do that, right? Let the fighters, if they want to go at it, let it be organic, right? And what I feel content creators should do, this is just me, if you want to promote the fight, there's nothing wrong with asking hard-hitting questions. There's nothing wrong with that. But stay on the truth. Stick to the truth. There is no need to create drama where there isn't any. There's no need to create. There's no need to lie and manipulate and spin the narrative in order to get traction on your channel. You're not trying to promote the fight. Y'all acting like y'all don't want the fight to happen. What you're trying to do is promote your channel. You want more people to come to your channel because you're stirring up drama. There's nothing wrong with attracting people to your channel. There's nothing wrong with wanting more subscribers. I want more subscribers. Fuck it. Y'all come on through. Because I have messages to send. And, I feel like those that receive my message, even through all the trolls in the chat, even through all the spamming and all that, there are people that are receiving the message, right? But there's nothing wrong with doing things to attract more people to your channel, but you want it to be on a foundation of truth and honesty. And you can get things wrong. It's okay to get things wrong if you are able to say, you know what, my bad, I gave you some wrong information, right? Just like, okay, for me, for instance, when I said that Lamont Rose Jr. wanted to fight Devin, the winner of Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., when he said that, I said that he didn't say that he was still fighting Tonka Truck Davis. I said he didn't mention him, but he did. At the very beginning, he said, after I beat Tank, I want to fight the winner of Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. I was wrong. I was incorrect. He did say after he beats Tank Davis. I got that wrong. So I want to correct that right now. He actually did say that. Because the whole thing about me saying that he didn't say that is that even though Lamont Rose Jr. said he was going to fight or beat Tank and then fight Brian Norman Jr. or Devin Haney, is I don't really believe that he thinks that they're going to fight next. I don't think he believes he's going to fight Tank. I don't think he believes Tank is going to fight him. Shawa says, I love the Normans and Haneys as well. Yeah, there's not exactly Shawa. And Shawa, I know you were you were a huge voice of reason throughout this whole thing. I know you were. I know you're trying to, you're one of the most objective people I know in this space. Super Hustle Man says, if Devin admitted he lost and let Eddie Hearn or De La Hoya be his mouthpiece, watch them make major boxing platforms make 180 on how they speak on Haney. Of course there will be. Shaw, you a real one. You're a real one. Someone asked if I'm black? Yeah, I'm black. I'm black. No, nothing wrong with asking that though. I'm black. So, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, man. Like, if you have to, all right, I'm going to talk about clickbait a little bit. There's nothing wrong with clickbait, right? There's nothing wrong with clickbait, but there are certain ways to do it and still keep your integrity, because you're trying to attract people to your channel. You're using a hook, right? I call it a hook. It's from writing. I'm a writer, so you use the hook to draw people in. A meme and a title is a hook, or a clickbait. So I'm a writer. You, in the very first paragraph of the very first page of the book, you write that paragraph needs to draw the audience in, needs to draw the reader in and make them want to read further. So that first paragraph is going to hit them like a ton of bricks, and is going to ease them into the story. I get it. But that first paragraph has to be integral to the entire story, right? It has to make sense. So sometimes people use clickbait and it's a blatant lie. Well, one way to do it is to put a question mark, right? A question mark after the bold statement, because you're letting people know that this is speculation. We're going to try to figure out if this is true or not. Come watch my live stream, come watch my video, so I can say, hey man, what's going on here, right? Like, you got channels out there that said, Devin Haney and Brian Norman Sr. exposed Bill and Haney as liars. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, they're ducking and to postpone the fight. You know them channels. No question mark. Where's the question mark at? And then when you go watch the video or the live stream, they haven't provided a lick of evidence to show that the Haneys are ducking, that the Haneys are postponing the fight, that the Haneys are doing this. No, you speculating based on bits and pieces of information that you're hearing from Brian Norman Sr. from on different platforms. But there's not a lick of evidence behind your clickbait. Clickbait can be true or not. And if you're going to base your commentary, if it's speculative, then put a question mark. No. Instead, they want to write it as a definitive. They want to pontificate and act as though they know shit they don't really know, right? And so this is when it becomes a problem. This is when I can't respect what you're doing on your channel. And I'm just one guy. Y'all don't need my respect. It is what it is. I understand that. I have no illusions about my importance in the boxing world. Trust me, or in any space, whether it be politics, whether it be about freedom. Well, I'm an authority on freedom. That's for damn sure. I know what unadulterated freedom is, and when I push that message, can't nobody fuck with me. No status can fuck with me about government. That's just real, because it all comes down to if you're operating out of cognitive dissonance. I can expose that, but nonetheless, yeah. And when the shit goes away, right? When, like right now, the Normans and the Haneys ain't got no problems with each other. They're about to fight. They're going to go into camp soon. They're going to start promoting the fight. They're going to have press conferences and all this, that, and the third. Well, they ain't got nothing for that, right? All this shit that they said up to this point, the Haneys aren't going to fight them. They're going to duck. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Well, now the fight's happening. What they got to say now? They ain't got shit to say, because they were dead wrong, and they were speculating. They had no fucking goddamn nothing behind what they were saying. Nothing. No lick of evidence. Nothing. Nothing solid. Nothing solid, because they're focused on trying to make the Haneys look bad. And when the Haneys come out looking like some warriors, they ain't got shit to say about it. They got to find a different angle. They got to find a different angle here, different angle there. Oh, the baby mama drama. Oh, nobody's covering that. Oh, Devin's a woman beater. All this bullshit. It's crazy. Shawa says, drama kings, thieving views. That's exactly what they is. I call them drama queens. They act like they never say up and lie. Yeah. They're straight up and down. Straight up and down. But this is how they build their channels. And people flock to them because they're excited about the level of drama. They want to hear things like Devin duck, Devin this, Devin that, because they have built. And this is why the YouTube space, this is why YouTube boxing talk. It is the most influential component in the sport of boxing right now. It is the most influential component. It garners the most influence, period. It garners the most influence because, people flock to these channels and they want the information, right? They have an alternative to old media, right? They have an alternative to old media, right? They're getting tired of old media. They want to see people that are closer to the level they are, right? More down to earth individuals building their channels from the ground up, right? Brick by brick. Without all the huge resources, without all the backing and all that. And they feel like, well, I can trust this YouTube channel more because they're not being influenced by big media. They're not being influenced by a big machine. Right? Well, when you take that level of trust in the audience, from the audience, because the audience trust us. El Nombre, salute to you. Greetings from Spain. Salute. Welcome from Spain, my friend. Is it true that it is easy to own a gun in the USA? Compared to Spain? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, compared to Spain. Absolutely. Anyway, absolutely, it's much easier. Salute, Derek Jerry. So, that's just the reality of it, y'all. These influencers, they built something. All these guys have built something from the ground up. Now, your bricks can be made of lies. It can be made of manipulation. It can be made of, greed. If your bricks are made of that, they will not stand up to the storm. It will not stand up. The storm is the truth. The storm is reality, right? The storm is that tsunami that's going to come through and expose everything. Whereas if you build your channel on truth as much as you can, in honesty and integrity, your shit's going to be stormproof. Your shit's going to be stormproof. You're going to have, and guess what? Bricks made of the tougher stuff are rarer. And it takes longer to build. It takes longer to build your house from the toughest materials because, you gotta get the material, you gotta ship it from over here. There's a lot that goes into it. And you're not gonna build what you have as quickly as someone who takes the easy route, who takes the shortcuts. Shawa says all are biased. Why assume there's no narrative being pushed on a YouTube channel? Exactly. I'm biased, right? Everybody's biased to a degree. Everyone.
Vehicle
but
on shoulder ahead.
There's a difference between being biased, right, and trying to act like you're not biased, right, and being biased and being able to admit and acknowledge that you're biased, but still try to come from a degree of, I'm going to stand on truth and facts no matter what, even if I don't like it. There's a difference, because the people that are biased and try to act like they're not, but are clearly biased, and they use manipulation and lies to present their biased opinions as facts. Whereas others, they express their opinions, they express their stances. Their stances are built on a foundation of fact. Right? But understand that your stance being built on a foundation of facts does not mean you always get it right. It doesn't mean you always get it right. It just means that you are more likely to get it right because you're going from the facts. If you're not doing that, if you're just basing everything, your opinion, on speculation because you don't like somebody,
vehicle stopped on road ahead.
It's going to be very easy to see that you're full of shit. And these channels that try to act like the Haneys were, they're ducking, they're doing this, they're doing that, they don't want to fight, trying to make Bill out to be some evil liar. Well, they ain't got shit to say now. They ain't got shit to say. Their square is gone. They can't stand on the square they don't have. Right? And even like, there were channels out there that were trying to shit on the Normans. Right? And I was one of them. I didn't shit on them, but I did believe that they were trying to duck for whatever reason, whatever the reason may be. See, you know how you take the sting out of the word duck? I've explained this before. You can duck for good reasons, and you can duck for bad reasons. You can, like, if and someone can call it ducking, well, that you can call it ducking. I don't give a shit. It was the smarter move for me to duck that, and I explained that before. Like when Devin Haney had that purse bid against Sandor Martin after the Ryan Garcia debacle, right? He didn't want, so they lowballed. They lowballed Devin in that purse bid, and Devin said, "Fuck that! I'm not fighting for $1 million." You know what I'm saying? Stephen X, you back? Salute to you. Devin said, "I'm not fighting for $1 million." What? So one might say that he ducks Sandor Martin. Okay, he ducks Sandor Martin for a very good reason. So, what I would say is, the reason that I believe that the Normans were ducking at that point in time, during that last week, was because of all the different narratives that were coming from the Normans' whole management team, the whole team, the manager, Brian Norman Sr., all and Tay Jones. Like, no one's information lined up. No one was consistent with their information. Whereas the Haneys were like, we signed our side. We're ready. We good to go. It never changed, right? But we kept hearing a lot of different shit from the Norman team, including, we're going to wait for Mario Barrios versus Pacquiao, which would have been a clear duck. That's a clear duck. Because y'all had already said that y'all would fight Devin before Adrian Clark said that. So there were reasons behind me saying that they were ducking. There were channels out. It is what it is, man. Nonetheless, we are here now. The Norman team is about it. The Haney team is about it. And no one, the people that wanted the Devin Haneys, the Haneys, to be the problem, they're not going to tell you that. They want to hear that it was Bill's fault. They want to hear that it was Devin's fault. They want to hear that. They want to hear duck, duck, duck everywhere. That's all they want to do. So they can't say that now. They won't say it. Shawa says, yes, I remember you, but that's why I told we aren't privy to all. exactly. You did say that, and they can't say certain things. And you know what? And that I would respect. I mean, I always respected it, but I would respect that if they came out and said, man, look, man, we're negotiating our side. The Haneys, they accepted whatever they were offered. They accepted it from Turkey. We're working on negotiating our side. We still want to make the fight happen. We just want to make it work for us. That, that would have been enough. That would have been enough, and that would have been that. But that's not how it happened. So, I mean, they gave too many different people too much room to spin narratives. So, it made them look bad, in my opinion. Right? It made it look bad, not because they were taking a little bit longer to accept their side. No, but because of all the different information and misinformation that was being spread around. Shawa says, I was so stressed on that day, King. Well, I understand. I know you are a diehard boxing fan. I know you are starving, just like I am. You are starving for a great fight where both fighters are putting it on the line. They're challenging themselves. They're making it happen. No excuses. And all the bullshit surrounding this whole thing last week and the week before, yeah, it could be stressful. But now we are where we are, and we know both sides made it happen. Both sides, that's the key. Both sides made the fight happen because both sides agreed. Simple as that. It took a little bit longer for the Normans to get where they wanted to go. The Haneys were already there. And the beauty of what Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing in this aspect is taking away the haggling between the two fighters. A side, B side, this, and who's getting more, who's getting the bigger split. No, none of that matters anymore. This fighter gets what he wants. That fighter gets what they want. Bada boom, bada bing, it is what it is. Let's make the fight happen. It takes away the extracurricular bullshit that we don't need in the sport. Super Hustle Man says if Haney dominates, which I believe he will, or gets a knockout, I can't wait to see the reaction. I can't wait either. I think that Devin is going to, I don't know about the knockout, but I think he's going to win by unanimous decision. Like I said, I see a lot of things that Devin could definitely capitalize and exploit. Capitalize on and exploit. Shawa says, yes, both sides, all that matters. Turkey asked Norman first. There just wasn't a term sheet nor a contract. I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know if Turkey asked first or not, but I don't think they needed. I don't think Turkey to ask Devin first, because Devin is gonna get what he's gonna get anyway. Devin had Brian Norman Jr. on the hit list, so it was already clear that Devin wanted to smoke. Turkey was aware of the list. Turkey got the list, so the bottom line is, and in my opinion, Brian Norman Jr. been wanting to fight Devin for a minute. I really think that, because they showed that video of him jump roping and looking at Devin Haney fight. So yeah, I agree. I think Brian Norman Jr. probably been wanting to fight Devin for a while. I don't know. I don't know why. Since at that time Devin wasn't even at 147 yet, but I can tell Brian Norman Jr. was really wanting to fight somebody on the level of a Devin Haney. So there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, it is what it is. So anyway, Jesus is King says Jesus is King. For sure. Exactly, Shawa, they agree, and it is what it is. But yeah, I think Brian Norman Jr. been wanting to smoke. I think Devin Ben knew that. I think they both been wanting to smoke. They probably had these discussions before. right? I mean, it was said that when Devin was getting ready for Jose Ramirez, they asked, you know, Brian Norman Jr. to spar. They didn't want to do it because they felt like they might be fighting soon. So I ain't mad at it. So that, and like I said before, like I said last week, I said that before when Brian Norman Sr. and Bill Haney got on that conversation on the Boxing Voice or wherever that was, they both made it clear there was an agreement to fight. And that's where it should have been left at. You good, Dead Mike? We know what's up. People avoid be like they do Dev. Facts. So, anyway, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for listening. I'm going to get on off this thing. I'm about to be at this gym and handle a couple phone calls. But, yeah. Guess what? Bill Haney wasn't at fault. They knew what their side wanted to do. They handled their side. You know, hey, it took a little bit longer for Norman to come around, but so what? It got done. And that's all that matters. So, my question is, can we stop trying to act like the Haneys were trying to duck the smoke? Because we know good and goddamn well they were not. So, I'll leave it at that. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. And let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.